Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to this interesting game by Ninja Kiwi called Bloons Card Storm. One of the last things I was expecting from the Bloons series was a card game. I'm still expecting a Bloons FPS one day, but let's see if this is worth playing by going over the gameplay, player count, updates, and more. This might look like a lot, but I promise you this game isn't that complicated. So just like every other card game, you have cards. And just like every other Bloons game, you have monkeys and you have balloons. Put the two together and you have monkey cards and balloons cards. Let's start with the balloons. So you have your balloons cards that mostly resemble the balloons in the tower defense games. They have a differing amount of health and some of them have good or unique effects. Once you use a balloons card, there's a certain amount of turns you have to wait before it can attack. There's all these different factors for which balloon cards you want in your deck. And as always, the monkeys are trying to stop the balloons. Most of these you can only place once, then you can attack the balloons with them, then they have to reload. Just like the balloons, the monkeys can resemble the towers from the BTD games and can have different varieties that can make them good, like their attack power, their reload time, a good special effect, or how much they cost. I'm sure you've noticed the flow of gameplay on the board and it's starting to make sense. You can see both my hero and the enemy hero with our health bars, mana, and powers. Of course you lose when you run out of health, but there's also a mana system you have to keep track of. You get mana for playing balloons cards, so if you have a balloon card that costs 5 gold to play, you get 5 mana for your hero abilities. Each hero has a few unique abilities, a cheaper one, a more expensive one, as well as a passive. I'm sure you heard me that a card costs gold, and at the bottom left you have this gold system that's similar to a mana system in other card games. Gold is what you use to play your cards, and you increase in gold every turn. Something very cool about this gold system is that if you have any gold left over when you end your turn, you can use that remaining gold on your next turn. No gold gets wasted. It's fun thinking of the best cards you can play for the current turn and the next turn. The last type of card I have to mention are the power cards. These are cards that you play that have an immediate effect, like healing yourself for 100 health or dealing 30 damage to the enemy balloons. You want a balance of balloons, monkeys, and power cards. There's other aspects of the gameplay like the storm. This starts to ramp up the gameplay, spawning in balloons for both players. You want to make sure you have room on the board for these to spawn in. You don't have unlimited space for the balloons or the monkeys. You need to manage the board too. If you've been keeping up so far, congratulations, I told you it's not that complicated. If you're still having trouble, it's still easy to learn and harder to master. Don't worry, the tutorial teaches you a lot, but what it won't teach you about is all the different currencies. As you take a look at my inventory, there's a lot to look at. Starting with the monkey money, there's a few very useful things you can buy with this. You have these daily items that can be bought a limited amount of times per day, these card packs that are newer that doesn't seem to have as much of a limit, you know, every game needs their card packs. And another important thing you can buy with monkey money are the heroes. These come out in major updates and are the more expensive things you'll be saving up for regarding monkey money. You get about 2,000 to 3,000 monkey money in about 10 hours of gameplay, and 8,000 at about 50 hours. Just make sure you do your daily and weekly quests, and get your daily items too. You can use your monkey money on little things like adding a new deck slot, which leads me into the next currencies, and that's all of these different types of tokens for making cards. It's not one universal crafting currency. You need different tokens for crafting military monkeys, magic monkeys, support monkeys, not to mention the different types of balloons like basic balloons, advanced balloons, large balloons, then the tokens for power cards. It's a lot of tokens. But in practice, it's not a lot to keep track of. It just might take you a while to get some tokens more than others. It can be fun realizing a card you want and crafting it, but I tried playing for a while without crafting and just saving my currency. Like, I didn't buy my first hero until about 15 hours. I crafted my first card at level 10 or something. Even though I'm experiencing this as a free game, I wanted to get a feel for everything first at a very basic level. And oh boy, that can be rough sometimes. Since this is a card game, of course most of it's going to be PvP, which can be really hard for a newer player or someone with a bad deck. In the beginning, you will be both. First you have to get wrecked by the best cards to learn what they are. It'll be somewhat common for people to beat you for simply having better decks. I don't even know where to find the better decks online. It's like it's their domain and you have to adapt or die. I don't think it's the hardest to adapt to. Not every match will be unbalanced and you can learn a lot and have fun in those closer games. It can also depend on which game mode you play. Or does it? There's a regular duel mode, which seems to be a mixed bag, but then there's ranked. Ranked is where most people go in card games because your win might as well mean something, right? There's this whole tier system with ranking up and getting rewards. The main goal is to get to the Paragon rank so you could get all of these awesome rewards. I was able to get to Paragon, but I'll get more into that later. Those are the PvP game modes, but there's actually some PvE starting with the daily challenge. You get a random hero and deck every day to challenge an NPC for some currency. I like this as a warm-up. Then there's the adventures, which have some real single player PvE content. I really like the idea of this. The problem is, most of it you have to pay for. As of this video, there's only 2 adventures and you only get a taste and a preview of both of them. I think it's a missed opportunity with PvE potentially being a bigger part of this game, which I think would be beneficial. I'll get more into that later, but something that helps with the potential is the newer addition of boss battles. This one seems harder and I definitely need more experience, but it's like a long boss battle that you beat in tiers that gets harder as you're defeating it. It's nice that you get a daily reward from this, but there's also a leaderboard, so that's pretty cool. I like that type of competition. Now with experience in all those different game modes totaling to 100 hours, let's see what my profile and stats are looking like. There's really not much to look at, to be honest. All you have is my hero experience and wins, as well as my main level and total wins, plus a couple medals that seem to be related to ranked. It's not much, but at least you get these profile pictures. It's better than nothing. You don't get too much to show off like you can with these card backs, another reason to play ranked. I wish you earned more to show off, like different hero skins, maybe balloon skins. At least you can keep track and get rewarded for some of your progress with the feats. No, not that kind of feat. More like milestones and achievements. You get different currencies and items for doing stuff like winning a certain amount of games, crafting cards, popping balloons, the list goes on. I do appreciate these, although I wish these were Steam achievements as well, which does lead into some of my criticisms. That one isn't a big deal, but stuff like the monetization can be a bigger deal. You go into the store and it's full of deals and payable shortcuts. I prefer if card games had organic progression, but I understand that it's business. It just seems like there's more things that you can buy with money than earn or unlock. Which leads me into something I heard about Ninja Kiwi and subconsciously noticed a few things too. Now I'm not saying this is exactly true, but I have noticed a few questionable decisions. I think that their games were more properly monetized, but maybe it's been a bit much lately. This has been more noticeable since they've been acquired by another company. Now I don't think this is the end of Ninja Kiwi, but it's worth noting. I'm sure others have strong opinions on it. And it's not just monetization. For a long time people were saying this game was unbalanced too. Mixing the pay-to-win style of a modern card game and the game being unbalanced, this game wasn't looking too hot at first. It actually had a mixed to mostly negative response for a while. I've never seen a Ninja Kiwi game perform so poorly. The player count reflected this too. The numbers are so low I needed multiple charts to figure this out. It looks like the game peaked at 1 to 2,000 players when it came out in October, but quickly dropped to an average player count of 100 players or less. This is much worse than Bloons TD Battles 2, for example, another Bloons PvP game. As someone who started playing this game recently, it feels like everybody already abandoned ship. This lower player count definitely affects the gameplay and matchmaking too. This is why Duel is such a mixed bag, and even rank can feel like Duel sometimes, queuing up against someone much better or worse than you. It can be the worst constantly queuing against the same person because there's no one else to find. It can make the queue times a lot longer than they should be for a 1v1 PvP game, but I will admit, it's usually not as long as it could be. It feels like this game is barely keeping itself alive. It's not dead enough where it's completely unplayable, and it's alive enough where you can find matches and it even gets updates. That's right, this game isn't completely abandoned yet. There's actually a roadmap that tells you all of their plans. And a recent update in late May actually did a lot for this game, like fix a few of my criticisms. They added a new single player mode, adding packs helps with progression, same with the daily reward calendar, and I was gonna ask for a game mode similar to Arena and Hearthstone, and they actually did it. Not to mention that this update seemed to help the player count a bit too. Nothing too crazy, but it hasn't been this good since the game came out. That tells me that not everyone lost hope. They just wanted this game in a better state. Even at this point, I'm not experienced enough to tell you if this game is balanced or not. I don't even have a good deck yet. I'm just casually enjoying this game and realize that it can take a while to fully get comfortable with a card game. I've played a few cards in my heyday, with my favorite being Hearthstone. It was made by Blizzard and has always been my golden standard of a card game. I got pretty damn good at that game and my skills transfer over. This is definitely not as good as Hearthstone, but I can see it getting in a close second. I actually really like the unique gameplay of Bloons Cardstorm with the monkeys and balloons, and I think this game is the underdog of modern Ninja Kiwi games. I wasn't there for the launch, and maybe it wasn't that good, maybe the updates weren't that good either, but I think this game has potential. It won't be the biggest Ninja Kiwi game, but I just want it in a playable state similar to BTD Battles. Games like BTD Battles and Bloons Cardstorm can scratch that Bloons PvP itch. I'm pretty much a fan of every spin-off Bloons game, even when they have their ups and downs. As long as the game ends on a playable state, I can see the visions for these games in this franchise. I don't mind them branching out like making a Bloons FPS game or a Bloons driving game, just make it work. As for Bloons Cardstorm, I think this game will have a bumpy, interesting life cycle and probably not a long one. I'm sure it'll be playable for a little while though. As someone who likes simple fun card games, yes, I think Bloons Cardstorm is kinda worth playing. Not as a serious competitive card game, but as a casual fun card game that can get competitive sometimes, if that makes sense. I've accepted that I'll lose some games out of my control and that I want to see what I can get out of this game long term without spending any money. I'll spend money if it feels really worth it, like buying the adventure with that arena-like game mode, or if it feels worth supporting this game. At the end of the day, this game is free, it looks good, it sounds good, it's on mobile, it's accessible, and it can be casually addictive, so I'm not complaining that much. But what do you guys think? Do you think this game is worth sticking through the tough times, or it's not even worth it? I bet some of you didn't even know this game existed with that player count. Leave a comment letting me know. Here's some of the comments from my last Bloons video, so it can be extra worth it leaving a comment. Subscribe if you want to discover or stay up to date with cool games like this. I cover topics that you'll only find on this channel, like barely anyone cared to review this game. Become a member if you want to support my Ninja Kiwi addiction to their Bloons games. It's the biggest way you can support me, as well as dropping a like. If you like this video, I'll like you back. But thank you for having enough of an attention span to make it until the very end. You're better than the rest, and I can't wait to see you on another Ninja Kiwi adventure. After getting a roguelike and a card game, anything is possible and I'm down for the ride. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.